All right, welcome back, guys, to the workbench. Yeah, so what do we got today? Well, a couple weeks ago, just about, I ordered a Tease guitar with all of the imported guitars I have tried. I was watching this one YouTuber, Jimmy Stewart. He's an old guy, and yeah, he was demoing this particular guitar. And I was like, man, that's kind of a cool color. I really dig that. Yeah, so this is, so I think it's called something soul, something soul. Let me double check. I don't want to give you misinformation. Okay, yeah, I turned off the light. I mean, it just like sometimes the light really take away from the guitar. So, and I don't have professional lighting. This is not an official YouTube demo page, but this is just my personal experience. So the guitar is called Soulberry, and I'm digging on this color and the fact that very few guitars kind of speak to me. I saw this on Jimmy Stewart's YouTube page, and I thought this would definitely be a nice unit for a project. I already have plans to put a new loaded pick guard in there and to change out the bridge. And so on their website, at the Tease website, you can ask for a setup, and it's pretty inexpensive for 50 bucks. They will give you low profile saddle screws, so all you're feeling here is just the smoothness of the saddles. You'll never feel any screws popping out and digging into your palm. So if you're a palm player, that's a bonus. And the surprising thing about this whole experience so far has been that I asked the setup guy, whoever it was going to be, just to make sure that the ball and frets, come to the edge of the fretboard. Because I think on Jimmy Stewart's demo, I saw one fret that was shorter than the other. So, and I kind of mentioned that, and to my surprise, I got a phone call, and I didn't realize that the tech that was going to do the work on the guitar was the actual owner. So his name's Torsten, and so he gave me a shout out. He was like, asking me some questions about what did I mean by that, and I just was very honest with him about what I thought I saw, and so we talked about it, and during the whole time, it just kind of hit me like, I think it's pretty cool that the owner of this particular company or his technicians will actually, if there's some sort of discrepancy or something that doesn't get translated well, they will call you to make sure that your experience when you get the guitar is really, a very wholesome experience. Now, for most of us who have been buying these imported guitars, it takes a lot of work. It takes your time and effort to get it where it needs to be. These guys are willing to do all of that for you for a measly $50. That's pretty cheap. I mean, really, that is so inexpensive compared to like what Sweetwater will charge you, Guitar Center, which they don't do a good job anyway. But so, in this business, having a guitar come to your home that all you need to do is just enjoy it, tune it up, and enjoy it is a kind of a rare thing. It may not have the best of everything, but it's got the right parts, to make it into even more than it can be. So this is definitely a good platform for different mods that you may have or that you're wanting to do to it. Of course, you can always swap out the pickups, put a new bridge. And so this whole guitar was, kind of presenting itself because I have this loaded Joe Satriani loaded pick guard and this big block bridge that I still have the strings on because it had a locking tuners on it too, so no sense of wasting those strings. So all of that should just fall right into there with no problems. Now, since I've taken it out of the box, the only negative I have is about this box. You know, when your guitar comes halfway across the U.S. in that box, I think that there's so many things that can go wrong. There's not a lot of protection with these boxes. I've seen these boxes within a box, like when you order from Fender, you'll get a big box and then you'll get that box in a box. But that box is the only box you're probably going to see. And considering its travel time, there's just a lot that could possibly go wrong with the guitar just sitting in that box. And I think it's prone to even more weather conditions because that's all there is. And then the gig bag, which it's not a heavy gig bag. It's a very lightweight kind of gig bag. It's enough to, you know, for a beginner intermediate guitar, it's not very thick at all. It's just a very standard gig bag, very, very lightweight. So, but for the price that you're paying, it can't be about that. I mean, if you're gonna be looking for a guitar with a better gig bag, then Tease is not gonna be the deal. Do they have upgraded gig bags? I don't really know. I'm not that familiar with the brand yet, but this is gonna look great because, you know, I have this Joe Satriani loaded pickguard, and according to the owner, I should be able to just drop this thing in there. And since it is, he said that the body cavities are the same as a Fender, so I'm hoping that's true. But it does have a swimming pool cavity, so you can add any configuration in these bodies, and it has the same thickness as the regular Fender made in Mexico bodies. And so far my experience with the neck is awesome. Now I did have to intonate the bottom E and B string. They were off slightly, and I used my chromatic tuner because the needle never lies, and so both of these were a little sharp. So do I get a rebate? But I don't use strobe tuners. I used to have some, but you know, they just really annoy me because there's just too much movement in a strobe tuner. Chromatic needle tuners, they don't lie. When you're on the money, man, that needle is just straight up and it will not move to the left or right when your intonation is dead on. So all the other strings for the most part were dead on except for the bottom E and B string. They were a little on the sharp side. So some minor adjustments there, but no big deal. I will tell you that the bridge has no tone. It's wide open. You know, it's your very standard type of single coil pickups. The only other adjustment I had made was to drop down the bass side a little and the middle, and kind of leave the treble side a little bit higher to kind of raise the treble side. It does come with locking tuners and some decent roller string trees. The tuners look to be very nice. The neck is very satin oriented type neck, so it may look like raw wood, but it's not. It's got a very, very wonderful feeling neck, like absolutely no fret spurs, but the neck and the finish of the neck, it's got a coating of something on there. It's got to have, because you don't want a neck that's raw. It's just it doesn't really feel as good as you think. The owner did mention that they are going to start adding serial numbers, so this is a New York serial numbered guitar. He did talk about the new neck plates. Yeah, they do look very classy, I'll give you that. Really, really nice. And this is pretty much a Squire type bridge. It's not on the high end, but you know, again, it's just one of those things you can upgrade for sure. But the vibe of this guitar, I really like. Now, I can't order another one from Guitar Gardens because they stopped making Strats altogether, if you've noticed. So And with all the other Chinese imports, I've never really been happy. They're always lacking something. There's always something, man, about these other imported guitars from Feasley and Leo James and all these other bozos out there. And so Firefly has really been the only imported brand I have stuck with religiously, because they just really speak to me, the quality and the roasted flame maple necks. But so this is definitely a more budgeted type guitar, but it also offers you some features that some other guitars, even like Firefly, won't offer you or don't have. So with the swimming pool routing, you can add any configuration. The owner did say that they did make this side of the pocket a little deeper, so you can add a real 5-way selector with the rounded end, the Fender style, with it not bottoming out. And that's a bonus, because how many times have I tried to do something with a guitar similar to this, only to find out that the Fender switch or super switch won't fall into the cavity. It doesn't fit, and then you have to resort to an import. Well, this is an imported switch and pots and stuff like that, but the playability of the guitar speaks for itself. So when you pay for the setup, you're basically telling them what you want. I want this, I like it tuned like that. And with that extra $50, they give you low profile saddle screws. You never filled them. They set the guitar up, polish the frets, make sure everything that it needs to be is where it needs to be, according to even your style of playing. High action, low action. They want to make sure that all the frets are leveled and polished, that it has the right relief, if no relief, a straight neck. So if Sweetwater's charging you $300 for that, and these guys are willing to do it for $50, I would say do it, because out of the box experience so far is this guitar plays extremely well. Like, it's been the best experience. Not only that, but the strings that they're using are nice too. These don't feel like the ones from China. They don't feel like most of the ones that come from every import. They seem to be on every other import. They're already very tarnished. They're dry. They have no tone, and they're fake Diodarios. So they color the ball end. See, the Chinese are smart. They know how to camouflage and do all that counterfeit stuff. And they're great at it. So just because you see colored ball end frets don't really mean you're getting Diodario strings. They're not putting really Diodario strings on there. So anyway, yeah, this is a very interesting situation, because I didn't realize I was talking to the owner of Tease Guitars, and he was asking me some specific questions about, well, what did I mean about checking the the frets? Because when I saw this being demoed on Jimmy Stewart's YouTube, I did notice that one of the ball and frets was a little bit shorter than the other ones. And I told him, for me, honestly, if I see one fret shorter than the other one, no matter where it may be in multiple places, I'm sending it back. I'm not going to deal with that. So he goes, and since they're having a hands-on approach to making sure that the guitar that you receive is going to be the best guitar that they can send to you, then you can be sure that your experience is going to be not like Leo James, not like Feasley's, not like any one of these other imported guitars. They really have a personal touch to these. For this budgeted type of guitar, you really don't see that. That's kind of unheard of. So I was like, yeah. So just a few little things I had to do. But let's take it over to the music center. Let's plug it in and let's see how it is, because I've been kind of busy over here. These are all my boxes of guitar parts. I got pots and selectors and pick guards, and my whole closet is dedicated to all of my other guitars, and everything guitar related is here in this room. And so, yeah. So, let's get to plugging this bad boy in. That's kind of my receipt for the Soulberry. But all right, hold on, guys. Let me get set up here. Okay, welcome to the studio. Not, but anyway. So I have my earbuds plugged in. They are active. I have one sitting down in front of the Yamaha THR-10X on my clean channel, and it's very clean. Just a little bit of reverb. Okay, and of course I use my Behringer Ultra Metal for my distortion, and a couple of TLC Electronics delay and chorus, Hall of Fame chorus thing for an added special touch, in case I need that kind of stuff. And I push that through my Yamaha THR-10X. But for right now, we're going to listen to the Soulberry in a stock configuration with these pickups. It is my recommendation that for something like this, if you're buying an imported guitar and you want probably one of the best experiences out of the boxes, where the guitar is already set up and in awesome playing condition, where the guitar is just playable, all you would have to do is tune it up. This is so far, believe it or not, this is so far the best experience of having a playable guitar without having to do nothing, just a few little minor things. Because I'm anal like that. So that is the bridge pickup. There is no tone control on the bridge. In order to get a tone control in the bridge, you're going to have to create a jumper on the imported selector, which is not hard. It's very explainable on many YouTube channels. But so the bridge pickup is basically wide open. You can't change the tone. In position 2 you can, and it will, and in position 2 it's going to use the bottom tone knob, and that's where you'll create the jumper. The jumper will be between using this tone knob, which is also controlling the tone knob for position 2. And here we are, position 2. Let me make sure my volume is maybe just a little bit higher. Hold on, guys. Okay. So it's got some good quack in there. The owner, who surprisingly called me, we got into this pretty lengthy conversation about music, and that was also another awesome thing. When the owner of a company, even like Tease, is taking time out of their life to have a conversation with you, that means that they're really listening to you, not just as a person, but as a musician, and they really want to make a solid connection, and for many good reasons. Now, that's never really happened to me, so it's really kind of taking me by surprise, but But in talking about pickups and many other things, he mentioned that they chose a design where all the pickups have the same output, which was quite unique. But they do break up really well. So they do have that Fender kind of vibe. All right, middle position. Very nice. I mean, I'm actually a little surprised. Like out of the box, this thing plays really, definitely, definitely worth holding on to. So yeah, it's got right there in position 4 some really good quack. So if you're buying this for your son, your daughter, for yourself, it's definitely in between, beginner, intermediate, but you could take it to another level without a doubt. I mean, this kind of playability you're not going to find on a Leo James or a Feastley, not like this. No, not even close. But you pay a little extra for that, so totally delivered to my house, $229. And then you start subtracting, the shipping costs that Tease has to pay to ship it to you. You think about that. So for their sort of shipping, maybe, so when you think about the guitar in essence of what you're getting for the dollar value, it's an awesome guitar. Like, you're not going to have this experience out of the box. It's not possible. So even if you spend the extra $50 for the setup, you're still at $230 delivered to your front door. And you're never going to get anything like that for $230. I'm telling you. This totally fucking blows away a Squire. Like, there's no Squire that can compete with this guitar at all. No way. And I have bought many Squires, taking back all of them just about. I mean, this has had hands-on, guys. So, whether it be the owner or one of his techs, somebody got their hands on it and made sure everything was exact to your specifications, because you paid the extra $50. So That's a great deal. I mean, just like an awesome deal. So, neck position. They don't sound microphonic, but they're pretty generic ceramic pickups, but they have a lot of character still. Yeah. So let's get dirty now. Let's see if we can. Let me make sure I got that set up right so I don't blow anybody's eardrums on. Okay, just doing a little volume check, making sure it's not crazy. So, as I mentioned, I use my Behringer Ultra Metal. The settings most likely never change except the level. I have never cranked this all the way. I've never gone past half on the gain, so I keep it at this really decent kind of crunch. And with this particular setup, I'm really able to gauge how the pickup responds, even with a mid to high gain settings. If I go past this mark, it'll definitely start to turn to shit really quick. So I always try to keep my gain in a more controlled setting where it's not heavily saturated. Because a lot of the times when I'm playing on a single coil, which a lot of my guitars do have a single coil type, but rather even on a humbucker. So as where it's set right now, if I'm playing with a humbucker, it's got a real big punch to the face. But even with a single coil, with this sort of ceramic pickup, you can still get a great crunch without it being heavily saturated and sounding like bacon. And this Behringer Ultra Metal is a fantastic pedal for pennies on the dollar. And I've tried the Boss pedals and even their super high-end distortion pedals, and this to me is just as comparable, and it's just a nice pedal. Even if that's not the guitar, it's me. Had a little delay and some crybaby. Of course, that was kind of the neck and the bridge, which most guitar players like to switch between the neck and the bridge. I'm forgetting to do my chops. Yeah, so this is a really good guitar to have. Absolutely fun for days. If you weren't going to use it for any modding or anything like that, this guitar is just, meant to be played right out of the box. You don't have to do anything to it whatsoever. And I think that's an awesome thing where you just don't have to do anything to it, You just, you turn on the backing track and you just start jamming, after you tune it up. kind of get the vibe, and the playability. Wow. Yeah, the playability, man, is really, really nice. But I have plans for this guitar body and neck. It really is an awesome guitar right out of the box. But I'm definitely going to take this to the next level. So thanks for joining me, guys. And if you're interested in a really good out of the box experience with an imported guitar that's pretty similar in playability, and I think this is the next best thing to a Firefly, considering the cost, the setup. Just a fantastic instrument. Really, really nice neck. These guys are really focused on the customer experience, something you're not going to see from any one of the other imported players in the market. So check them out, man. I think I'm going to be keeping this guitar. I'm really just going to drop in, upgrade it, and this color is really, really nice. I really like this purple burst with the black trim. Yeah, so I'm definitely going to hold on to this one. So if you haven't, I don't know if they're still in stock. I have not checked, but Soulberry, that's the name of it. ST1 Tease Guitars. Yeah, check them out, dude. I don't think you're going to have a bad experience, and I would highly recommend the extra $50. As cheap as they are, man, spend the extra money and have just a wonderful experience. Could still at $230 delivered to your front door. Some Fireflies start at now. They used to be at $219 plus shipping, and they don't do any setup. You have to do your own. So you just have to trust that the factory didn't totally goof up on the guitar, but at least this company, these guys are reaching out to you. They want to have input on what do you really want. Like, what is your setup? What is your string preference? They're gonna put the low profile screws in the saddles. So I think that speaks for itself that in this particular market, the owner of this company really wants you guys to have a wonderful experience, and I appreciate that, honestly. I really do. And it was a total shock to me that he would even have called. Out of all the people, I never expected a phone call, but he was like, "Hey, man," and I was like, "Who's this?" He's like, "Hey, well, this is Torsten down at I was like, "Who? What? Let's go. Who is this guy?" But it took me a little while to figure out. I was like, "Really? Wow. Okay. Wow. That's interesting." And so, with as many years as I've been playing, yeah. So, Tease Guitars. These guys are really, into you having a wonderful experience, and I think that speaks for itself, because I don't know of anybody else who's really calling you if they have to, and they really want to make sure that you're having your first guitar to be just a wonderful experience. And it's definitely worth the extra $50 to make sure that the frets are level and polished, that the neck has the right relief, and where it needs to be at, that the intonation's been set, the pickup heights have been set, and your string of choice and how you prefer it. Given all that for $50, that's just kind of unheard of today. And the pickups really do sound good. You don't have to do anything to this guitar. If you were to just buy it and play it, that's all you would need to do. But you can also, you can do anything with this body. You can upgrade. All you really need to do here is, as far as modding, is to just upgrade the cavity and the bridge, and it's a forever guitar. There would never be a reason for you to ever get rid of this, because it's just a nice guitar. It's very good looking guitar too, with that backplate. Looks really, really nice. So a lot of personal touches. You got locking tuners, which is really nice to have, and it takes very little to get something like this to the next level. So thank you guys over at Tease Guitars. You did a wonderful job with just a few little minor touch-ups that I had to do, but with all said and done, yeah. So check them out, guys. I'll leave a link below. I'm not sure what their inventory is, but They do have different models and different colors, but for $230 delivered to your front door with this really customer-centered experience, that's kind of not heard of today, not in today's market. So I really do appreciate that. So now I can really say that this is definitely one of my favorite guitars. The playability is really nice, man. Just they set it up just the way that I can really get into it. Just really, really nice. So thanks for stopping in, guys, and thanks for checking out the new Tease Guitar Soulberry. Yeah, wonderful. All right, take care.